A friend of mine asked me an interesting question this week. He was going to get his car serviced, and he wanted to know what should he do to prevent coronavirus transmission after his car is serviced, assuming someone at the dealership or someone at the service station was asymptomatically infected, and maybe they're working inside the car. And what can you do? So to answer this question, you need to know a couple of things. How long does the virus survive on an environment? And what are the things you can do to eliminate the virus quickly afterward? So I found a couple of papers. This is a paper in correspondence, so it's a very short um, study. It was published in the Lancet, and basically they showed that when the virus is at a very low temperature, 4 degrees Celsius, this is the temperature of your refrigerator. It's very stable, and there was only about a zero point 0.7 log reduction. So one log is 90%, so zero point 0.7 log reduction is way less than 90% reduction after 14 days. So in 14 days, I think zero point 0.7 log is a maybe 50% reduction or 60% reduction. So in 14 days, you haven't lost that much of the virus. Whereas if you increase the temperature to 70 degrees Celsius, a virus is basically inactivated within 5 minutes. So temperature plays a huge difference. Now, 70 degrees Celsius is really hot. It's like 160 degrees Fahrenheit for people that use the Fahrenheit scale. So this is not a temperature that you're normally going to reach. Might reach that temperature in the summer inside of a car with its windows up, but generally this is not a temperature that your car is going to reach. So that, and then what they also showed is they tried pipetting the virus on different surfaces to figure out how long it survives on certain surfaces. So um, paper, 3 hours, uh, wood and cloth, 2 days. So this is in the dark at 22 degrees, which is about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So in the dark, 22 degrees, this is how long this lasts. And then on smooth surfaces, so it takes 4 days on glass and cash, and 7 days on stainless steel and plastic. So that's a long time. And so most of the surface of your car is going to be cloth, so 2 days, and plastic, 7 days. So it lasts a long time. That is in a temperature of 72 degrees with good humidity and in the dark. One of the things that rapidly inactivates SARS-CoV-2 is sunlight. And you may remember that there was a thing about sunlight in the news a while back when people were suggesting sunlight as a cure for COVID. It is a very effective reduction of viral activity. And so what they did is they checked. They had simulated sunlight represented the summer solstice at 40 degrees north latitude at sea level on a clear day. So 40 degrees is about the latitude of Washington, D.C. So if you're higher than that, you'll get less sunlight. And if you're closer to the equator from that, you'll get more sunlight. At summer solstice, that is the most solar radiation that you're going to get. So in the winter, it's going to be different. And then they tested this at noontime. So early in the morning, later in the afternoon, you're going to have less sunlight. So this is optimal conditions for someplace like Washington, D.C. So you can kind of use that as a scale. So what they did is they had this fancy contraption, and then they exposed the virus to sunlight. And so this is a little graph showing how throughout the day, so here's noon. Noon is when you're going to have the highest solar radiation, and then it drops off. And then in December or January, it's very little radiation. In July, June, it's the most radiation. So they checked it. They checked it here at this level of radiation. They checked it here at this level of radiation, and they checked it here at this level of radiation. And when you go here, this is a logarithmic scale. So every scale is a 90% reduction. So from 3 to 2, that's 90%. There's another 90%, which means 99% of this. There's another 90%, which is 99.9%. So that's how these logarithmic scales work. And so you see here, within about 6 minutes, you get 90% reduction. And then in another 6 minutes, you get another 99% reduction. So it's very rapid. And then with less radiation, the slope is a little less. You still get 90% in 10 minutes or so. And here with low ratio, it just takes longer. And then in the dark, it's very flat. You don't lose much viral activity. Okay, so we know things last a long time on smooth surfaces, and heat is bad for it, and lower temperature is good for the virus to survive. And sunlight is really bad. Sunlight will kill the virus within 5 to 10 minutes generally, provided you're at the right time of the day and in the right location in the world. And so for morning or evening or later on in the afternoon or higher latitudes or winter, you're gonna have to go longer. Then the Department of Homeland Security actually ran a bunch of tests in their own lab, checking what kind of disinfectants work. And so they checked Lysol, so ammonia, so that worked pretty well if you use it for 3 minutes. Then bleach, if you dilute it 1 to 32 with water and leave it for 5 minutes, it worked pretty well. 70% ethanol, that's you just dilute ethanol. So 70% ethanol is like vodka basically. And you dilute it with water at 5 minutes, highly effective. And then periacetic acid. This is something that you probably wouldn't have around in your house, but everyone has bleach, and ammonia is not too hard to find. So bleach is very readily available. And then isopropyl alcohol. This is rubbing alcohol. This is very common and very easy to find. In 30 seconds, they said it was partially effective. Now, this is the thing that you have to look at when they say things like partially effective. What do they mean by that? This is an interim report, and basically this shows, I think it was here. Yeah, so it shows here that like 70% isopropyl alcohol for 30 seconds resulted in 99.4%, whereas bleach represented 99.9%. So 99.4% is still pretty good. And that's 30 seconds. So I think either a dilute bleach solution or 70% isopropyl alcohol, those are two things that almost everyone has or can easily get. They're very effective within 30 seconds. I suspect bleach was effective within 30 seconds to 99%. If you leave it on for 5 minutes, 99.9%. So what I told my friend to do is after you ask the people at the service station after they're done with your car to please park it outside with the windows up. That will get a lot of solar radiation into the car, and it'll hopefully increase the temperature in the car. That'll disinfect much of the car before you get there. Once you get there, wipe down everything with bleach or isopropyl alcohol. Basically the surfaces that would have been touched, dashboard, steering wheel, gear shifters, knobs, that kind of stuff, seat, with that stuff, and unroll all the windows to let it air out and open all the doors. And that'll air out the inside of the car. Within a few minutes, within a few seconds, you can probably exchange all the air inside the car. And within a few minutes, you would kill anything that was in there that was not inactivated by the sun. So it's probably pretty safe, and those are like pretty easy, simple things that everyone can do to disinfect their car after they've had it serviced.